Welcome to Tracking COVID-19, our special show where we bring together all the national and international updates on the coronavirus outbreak, steps taken by the administration, inputs by reporters, global developments and experts' advice, all packed together in the next 30 minutes. Let's begin with the top updates. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds telephonic conversation with the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. The two leaders explore possible collaboration between India and Israel in fighting the COVID-19 pandemic, including by improving the availability of pharmaceutical supplies. With 183 recoveries from COVID-19, the total number of confirmed cases stand at 2,902 in India. 68 people have succumbed to the disease so far. Ministry of Home Affairs exempts shops of agriculture machinery, its spare parts and repair. Truck repair shops on highways during lockdown period. Also exempts tea industry, including plantations with maximum of 50% workers. MHA approves the release of 11,902 crores under the State Disaster Risk Management Fund to all states. Global COVID-19 cases at 11 lakh and nearly 59,000 deaths. US registers highest number of deaths, 1,480 in a day. US President Donald Trump says government recommends Americans wear masks outside. China comes to a standstill to mourn patients and medical staff killed by the coronavirus. United Kingdom Prime Minister Boris Johnson stays in isolation with mild symptoms. Well, those were the headlines, national as well as global. Now, let's first take stock of the key developments in India vis-a-vis COVID-19 in Ground Zero. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday held a telephonic conversation with Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, and both the leaders explored a possible collaboration between India and Israel in fighting COVID-19 pandemic. This includes by improving the availability of our pharmaceutical supplies. Prime Minister Modi took to Twitter informing about the telephonic discussion. The two leaders also agreed to maintain a focused channel of communication to explore the synergies besides improving the availability of pharmaceutical supplies and innovative use of high technology. The two leaders have been in touch ever since the coronavirus crisis started. Netanyahu agreed with Prime Minister Modi that the COVID-19 pandemic is an important turning point in modern history and offers an opportunity to forge a new vision of globalization focused on the shared interests of humanity as a whole. Ministry of Home Affairs has clarified on the ground level issues being faced by states in ensuring the smooth flow of supply chain of essential items during national lockdown to fight COVID-19. States have been advised to brief district authorities and field agencies to avoid ambiguity at ground level. Production, warehousing and transport of essential goods such as food, groceries, fruits, vegetables, dairy and milk products are included under exceptions in the guidelines. Taking the case of laboratories, the communication clarifies that they have been exempted from lockdown restrictions. This includes the testing laboratories in the private sector for COVID-19 samples. Queries have been received as to what constitute food and grocery. State and union territories have been advised to interpret the terms to mean all items of food and grocery that are usually consumed by people on a day-to-day basis. Operation of railways, airports and seaports for cargo movement, relief and evacuation is allowed under the guidelines. Interstate and intrastate movement of all trucks and other goods, carrier vehicles with one driver and an additional person is allowed as long as the driver is carrying a valid driver's license. All movement of persons with the passes shall be subject to strict adherence to norms for hygiene and social distancing as it is required in the context of COVID-19. Ministry of Home Affairs has also issued the fourth addendum to the guidelines regarding the 21-day lockdown to exempt shops of agricultural machinery, its spare parts, supply chain and repair, truck repair shops on the highways, tea industry, including plantations with maximum 50% workers. Well, the tea plantations with a maximum of 50% workers also getting exempted there during that lockdown period. Also, an important information with regards to exemption when it comes to agriculture good, because this is the sowing season when it comes to kharif crops, and also the time for cutting of crops that are associated with the rabi. Moving ahead, on directions of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Home Ministry has approved the release of 11,092 crores under the State Disaster Risk Management Fund to all states. Home Minister Amit Shah has announced the approval of the release of funds. Centre on the 14th of March had already made a special dispensation of utilization of the State Disaster Response Fund, or the SDRF. This fund was allowed to be utilized for the setting up of quarantine facilities, sample collection and screening. This also helps in the setting up of additional testing laboratories, cost of consumables, purchase of personal protection equipment or PPEs for healthcare, municipal police and fire authorities, the purchase of thermal scanners, ventilators, air purifiers and consumables for government hospitals. Central government is sensitive to the need for providing food and shelter to homeless people, including migrant laborers who are stranded due to the lockdown measures. Accordingly, on the 28th of last month, the central government allowed the states and the government there to use the SDRF for this purpose also. Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has released the latest figures on COVID-19 situation in the country. Active coronavirus cases in India stand at 2,650. There have been 68 deaths overall. 183 patients have fully recovered and are being discharged from the hospital. Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan expressed confidence that India will surely win the fight against coronavirus. While praising the medical staff across the country for their selfless service, the minister also expressed concern over incidents of attack on health workers reported in certain parts of the country.
ये पूरा विश्वास है कि बहुत ही जल्दी भारत कोरोना के खिलाफ युद्ध में सफलता प्राप्त करेगा और सारा देश आपको, मैं समझता हूं कि जिंदगी भर याद रखेगा। आपका जो कंट्रीब्यूशन है, जो आपका सैक्रिफाइस है, उस पर देश को हमेशा गर्व रहेगा। इसमें मैं समझता हूं कि किसी को भी कोई संदेह नहीं है। आप सबके ऊपर सारे देश को गर्व है और सारे देश की निगाहें आपके काम पर लगी हैं। डॉक्टरों ने, हमारे क्लिनिशियंस ने, हमारे नर्सेज ने, हमारे एपिडेमियोलॉजिस्ट ने, हमारे पब्लिक हेल्थ के एक्सपर्ट्स ने, हमारा जो हेल्थ मिनिस्ट्री में टेक्निकल एडवाइजरी ग्रुप है, ICMR ने, सबने मिलकर जिस प्रकार से पहले ही दिन से सलाह दी और सलाह देने के बाद जिस प्रकार से सब लोग मिलकर एक टीम के रूप में निरंतर काम कर रहे हैं, उसी का शायद ये परिणाम है कि जिस कोविड-19 की आंधी तूफान ने सारी दुनिया के अंदर एक प्रकार से तबाही मचा दी, उसको हम भारत के अंदर कंट्रोल करने की स्थिति में हैं।
Health Ministry has also urged people to use the Arogya Setu app, calling it an effective tool for tracking corona patients. The app, prepared by the National Informatics Center or NIC in association with the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, supports 11 languages and uses the smartphone's GPS system and Bluetooth to track infected cases. The aim of the app is to inform the citizens about the best practices and latest advisories of the government pertaining to the COVID-19 outbreak. Moving to states and moving first to Rajasthan. In Bhilwara district of Rajasthan, patients after treatment are being discharged when found negative in the third reports. A doctor in Mangad hospital was tested positive for coronavirus, after which 26 people related to them were examined. 17 patients have reported negative, while 2 patients have died so far. Out of these 19 negative patients, 9 patients were given flowers and discharged by the district collector and hospital officer. They are advised to isolate themselves at home for 14 further days. Medical Superintendent MGH Bhilwara, Dr. Arun Gaur, said that they are happy that 9 patients are corona negative and leaving the hospital after treatment. We currently have 7 more patients admitted and we are sure they will overcome the coronavirus.
भीलवाड़ा चिकित्सालय में 9 पेशेंट वायरस फ्री होके जा रहे हैं। इनके हमने 2 सैंपल लगातार 24 घंटे में नेगेटिव आने के बाद 14 दिन होने पर आज इनका तीसरा सैंपल भी नेगेटिव आने के बाद इनको हम 14 दिन के लिए होम आइसोलेशन में भेज रहे हैं। 14 दिन हम इसी स्पीड से, इसी भावना से अपने आप को कार्य करते रहेंगे। मेरी पूरी टीम संघर्षरत है और हम संघर्ष करेंगे और इस कोरोना को जीतने नहीं देंगे।
Well, the true warriors there, the health warriors and the doctors there taking care of the patients. Well, meanwhile, patients say that they have won one more battle of life today thanks to the doctors.
हमारे भीलवाड़ा में अच्छी सी टीम आई है, डॉक्टर्स वगैरह सब हमारे अच्छी सेवाएं की और इलाज बहुत किया, अच्छी तरीके से किया। और हमें ये सावधान रहना चाहिए और एक दूसरे की दूरी बनाए के रखना चाहिए, अच्छा हैंड वॉश करना चाहिए। और बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद डॉक्टर्स को जो हमें आज कुशलता से घर भेज रहे हैं।
Meanwhile, big news coming in from Agra in Uttar Pradesh. The Taj city has witnessed 25 new coronavirus cases, taking the total number of confirmed cases to 45 in the district. A total of 228 samples were sent to Lucknow's King George Medical University for examination. Out of these, 25 samples turned out to be corona positive. The 25 new corona cases are also linked to the Tabligh-e-Jamaat incident in Delhi's Nizamuddin Markaz. Well, these are the 228 samples that were sent to Lucknow's King George Medical University, out of which 25 cases have been confirmed positive there of coronavirus. So these 25 cases are linked to the Tabligh-e-Jamaat incident in Delhi's Nizamuddin Markaz. We'll try and get more updates on that particular story. Meanwhile, the total number of confirmed cases in Agra now stand at 45, 25 new cases being added to that particular positive cases in the district of Agra. Well, moving on now, we'll try and touch base with some of our reporters there who are tracking this particular story for us. Also now, let's move to Punjab, where that's where from the next story comes further tightening the noose against violators of the curfew in the state. The Punjab police has now launched drone surveillance across the city. The drones have so far been deployed in 34 locations across 10 districts of Mohali, Sangrur, Faslika, Hoshiarpur, SBS Nagar, Barnala, Jalandhar Rural, Moga, Ropar and Fatehgarh Sahib. The Punjab Police has also cracked down heavily on black marketeers and hoarders amid reports of shortage of essential commodities. A total of 62 establishments were raided on Friday and 23 were found to be indulging in black marketing or hoarding in Gurdaspur, Pathankot, Kapurthala and Jalandhar, with another 5 challaned in Firozpur, where penalty will be imposed after due procedure. Well, now let's touch across to our correspondents who are joining us from various parts of India. Starting up with the National Capital Region, and Tapas joining us this morning. Tapas, good morning. Tapas, give us a sense of, we are over a week now when it comes to this particular lockdown, and people are slowly getting adjusted to this particular, work from home or, coming out for basic essential needs. Having said that, what's been the sense that you see there on ground zero when it comes to people changing their lifestyles and social distancing being maintained by people on the streets?
Being used to the whole new concept of this lockdown, and they're trying to adjust to this whole idea of work from home. But then there are pockets in Delhi which is still not completely adhering to the lockdown a mandate that has been given by the Delhi government as well as by the central government. There are places where when we went yesterday also and today, there are places, especially in the border areas, which are still not been, the lockdown has not been enforced that strictly. Having said that, there are people who are coming out for essential amenities, as I've been saying for the last few days, that they are going out, keeping the distance. There is a remarkable idea that yes, this is something that a lot of people are being talking about, that social distancing is the key to defeat this pandemic, and they've been following it. But keeping that in mind, the spike in the cases that have come out, especially yesterday, where almost 386 now Delhi's case has been as of now. Out of that, close to 67% up to 70, close to 270 are from for the Tabligh Jamaat. 67% are considered to be close to that issue. So keeping that in mind, the Delhi government as well as state government has once again appealed to the people in the national capital to make sure that they stay inside, they stay indoor and don't venture out. Obviously, one thing that is very important is to provide the essential commodities, for instance, food. And that is where the major problem arises, because remember, there are a lot of people in Delhi who are basically Delhi wager, or who rely on working every day. So for them, getting getting that food material is a key issue. In fact, we went to some of the places where ration is being given. The major concern is that people, only those people who are getting the ration who had the ration card. There are a lot of people in a society, in a colony, who do not have ration card. In fact, they have Aadhaar card, but they stay below the poverty level. So they've been raising this issue with the shop owners of the ration, where the ration you get, to provide them with some sort of food, some sort of ration to overcome these challenges.
To overcome the challenge, the basic amenities and the basic needs, they're coming to the forefront, and people raising these valid issues. Well, now moving from Delhi, moving now to the eastern part of India and moving to Kolkata, where Anibruto joins us this morning. Anibruto, looking at the things from West Bengal point of view, how are the cases? Is there an update? Is there an upgrade in the number of cases there? And how is the state government fighting this pandemic?
Yeah, Anil, this is an unconventional scenario everywhere, because people all over the world are in, troubled water. Here in West Bengal also the corona case is on rise, because overnight we have heard that actually Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has said 4 more active corona patients are there. So the figure now stands as 42, earlier it was 38. And the Chief Minister also said that 52 other in home quarantine. So as you can say that here West Bengal everywhere, the West Bengal is facing lockdown. The schools are lying closed, all other establishments are lying closed, And people, tooth and nail are following, this 21 days lockdown because they know because this is the only way to get rid of this deadly corona. Virtually, it has turned to a predator. These lions and tigers are no longer treated as predator, but this unseen virus that has turned to be predator, and people are literally being scared of it, and they do not know how to get rid of these things. But they truly observing this 21-day quarantine, and I believe that 10 more days are left. Actually, the Prime Minister, given the deadline, they're truly following these things.
Okay, also when it comes to a lot of benefits as the central government announced, how do you see that on ground zero? Now, we are into that first week in the month of April. People would be hitting the banks to, get those benefits announced. How do you see that trickling down on ground zero? Are people able to get the benefits that the central government is announced there in the state?
One thing, Anil, I can say you, there is absolutely no brickmanship here, because the state government is acting in cohesion with the central government, and, these opposition parties are not hearing any dissident views as such, because the basic objective is to provide service to the people who are in need of it. So that it's not only the governmental end, but even private entrepreneurs are also coming forward. They are lending, they are lending help to the people who are in need, particularly the migrant workers who are stranded in different parts in Bengal. We are seeing that this rescue operation are in full swing, and so the police is also coming in help. At the same time, police is keeping an watch on the movement of vehicles in different areas, and there is tendency, among the people to, break down, to disobey this sort of thing. So we are finding somewhere in some parts of this Bengal also the same thing, but the police is keeping on close watch on this thing.
Okay, you take good care of yourself. We'll come back to you for more updates on this COVID-19 pandemic there from the state of West Bengal. Thank you once again for joining us this morning. Well, moving now to some good news that gives us hope in the fight against COVID-19. Central Railways has started converting ICF coaches into isolation and quarantine wards. 482 such coaches will be converted into isolation wards. In Mumbai area, this work will be done at Matunga and Parel workshops and Wadi Bandar and Lokmanya Tilak terminus depots, that's LTT depots. More than 50% coaches will be converted into isolation wards at 2 workshops and balance in other various coaching depots of Central Railways. Work has already started in these workshops and other various coaching depots of Central Railways on a fast track. As the country is fighting COVID-19 pandemic, Indian Army is dutifully performing their responsibilities. While police and administration are facing challenges to ensure lockdown across the nation, soldiers of Chinar Corps have extended solace to Kashmiri people in high altitude areas. Braving the glaciated terrain and piercing winds, Chinar Corps are not only spreading awareness about COVID-19 but also providing ration and other essential items to people living in such high altitude areas. The entire area is also being sanitized by the troops. Amid lockdown, the CRPF men in uniform serving food to the destitute near AIIMS in the national capital. These brave men in uniform are also providing sanitizers, masks and fruits along with food and water to the people. The present video shows men from 70 and 55 there getting the benefits conducted by the CRPF men. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has retweeted the video message of Telugu film stars Chiranjeevi, Nagarjuna, Varun Tej and Sai Dharam Tej featured in a coronavirus awareness music video recorded from their individual homes. Prime Minister thanked these stars for their excellent message. Prime Minister tweeted and said, "Let us stay in our homes, let us practice social distance, let's win over the coronavirus."
We gonna fight corona ఏదేమైనా చిన్నదిలే మనలో ఉన్న ధైర్యం కన్నా జాగ్రత్తలు పాటిస్తూ ఎదిరిద్దాం చిన్న ఏముంది విలువైంది మన ప్రాణం కన్నా నీ చేతల్లోనే.
Well, let us now take a look at some international updates in World Wrap. Global cases of the novel coronavirus has shot past the 1 million mark with more than 59,000 fatalities as death toll soared in the United States and Western Europe while the world economy nosedived. Italy saw more evidence that it might have made it through the worst of the coronavirus pandemic as the daily rise of officially registered infections dropped to a new low of just 4%. The number of people who have been declared fully recovered has soared by 17.3% to 19,758 over the past 48 hours. Now, the death toll tally in the country stands at 14,681. This is Italy specific. Also, the situation in some of Italy's worst hit regions, Lombardy, also appears to be gradually easing. In the meantime, the Russian military carried out sanitation as well as disinfection procedures in 3 senior care centers in municipalities. The epidemiologists also formulated a list of recommendations for the management and medical staff of the centers on how to maintain proper anti-epidemic control practices and to prevent the infection from spreading. As the United States of America registered a new global record of 1,480 virus deaths in the last 24 hours, U.S. President Donald Trump expanded the role of the U.S. Army in the fight against the deadly coronavirus, saying that no one is better prepared to fight the current situation, which is like a war. The U.S. President said that the government is expanding the role of the armed forces in response efforts because no one is better prepared to win the war of the United States military, and we are in a war with an invisible enemy. This development comes as members of the White House task force on coronavirus are expected that the deadly disease will peak in the next 10 days. While battling with the deadly novel coronavirus, people in Wuhan mourn the thousands who have lost their lives due to the outbreak, stopping in their tracks while horn blasts through the city. The mourning coincided with the start of the annual Qingming Tomb Sweeping Festival, with millions of Chinese families pay respects to their ancestors. In Wuhan, the capital of Hubei province and the epicenter of the outbreak, all traffic lights in urban areas turned red for a while and the road traffic ceased for 3 minutes. Cars, trains and ships sounded their horns and air raid sirens wailed while pedestrians stopped walking and many bowed their heads in a solemn moment of silence. Some 2,567 people have died in the city of 11 million people, accounting for more than 75% of the country's coronavirus fatalities. Well, that's all we have in this edition, but a humble and important request before I wind this special edition of Track It COVID-19. Those of you who plan to burn diya candles on the 5th of April 2020 at 9 p.m., please do ensure that there is no sanitizer at all on your hand. Safety is better than any cause. So stay safe, stay indoors, and let's keep ourselves safe and be ready in this fight against COVID-19. That's all I have time for. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.